What's up, Flick Connection? This is Darren, and today I want to tell you about 5 flicks you can currently watch on Netflix about time travel. Our first flick is actually a Netflix original called Arq. That's spelled A-R-Q. Now, this is a pretty low budget, kind of one set type of movie, but it's really interesting. Visually, it looks pretty good considering the budget's fairly low. You'll probably recognize a couple of the actors, even though there's nobody particularly famous in it. But it's got a really cool premise where you sort of get stuck in a loop going over and over again, and it's an interesting take on it. And for a low budget Netflix original that was done fairly recently, it's well worth watching. It's got pretty high ratings on Netflix. So for this type of movie, I'd highly recommend it. It's fun to watch. It's not too long. It's probably one you haven't heard of. And for that, it gets some bonus points because it's just an extra movie out there that you could pick up. It's pretty accessible, and have some fun with it. But it's not going to be one that you're going to be talking about at cocktail parties. It's not one you're going to go back and rewatch a bunch of times. But for the 90 minutes you commit to it, it's very entertaining. It's well worth the watch, and it doesn't necessarily have the level of cheese that time travel movies can have. And it also doesn't take itself too seriously. So I recommend it. If time travel is a subject that you want to dive into, this is maybe a good place to start.
Aaron, I can imagine no way in which this thing would be considered anywhere remotely close to safe.
Our second flick is a little more serious. It's called Primer. It came out a few years ago, and it's probably an even lower budget. It's super low, really small cast, no names, first-time director, but it is great. It doesn't have a particularly good hook, so it does take a little time getting in. It might feel a little bit slow, but once it gets you in, it really goes. Like I said, it's a low budget. There's not a lot of frills, not a lot of special effects, but the story really gets intense. It feels very realistic. Without giving too much away, it's about a couple of guys that actually invent time travel in their garage, which sounds like a cheesy premise for a sitcom, but this is really well done. It's got a Christopher Nolan vibe, really just in terms of story and how deep you go down the time travel rabbit hole. If this is one that just interests you and you want something that's going to kind of work your brain a little bit, Primer's a really good way to go. You've got to get past the low budget nature of it, but even that's handled really well. It's kind of a single camera shot in what appears to be somebody's house, meaning it's not really dressed up for a movie set, but it's good. Again, don't judge my recommendation if you don't at least give this movie 20 minutes. But if you watch it and you get all the way through it and you like it, let me know about it. If you don't like it, let me know about it in the comments below. I'd love to hear what you think. In a similar vein to Primer, Timecrimes is a very good foreign film. It's Spanish language, but again, it's about a character that gets caught in a loop. I kind of hate to give away that much, but that's all I'll really say. Whereas Primer does get fairly dark, this one gets even darker. This one's pretty grim, but it is very, very interesting, and it's a really interesting take. Again, it took me a little while to get into this. I wasn't sure if I was going to finish watching it, but after I watched it the first time, I watched it again. And then ultimately bought it on DVD because it went off of Netflix. As of April 2017, it is currently on Netflix, and I know it's kind of jumped on and off a couple of times. So if you're watching this video in the future, it may or may not be available, but I'd encourage you to seek it out either way because it is really, really interesting, and it's one of those movies that unfortunately a lot of people don't know about.
What is this thing?
I think it's a camera.
The fourth flick I want to talk about is Timelapse. This is probably the most accessible one on the list just because it's a simple concept. Again, it's low budget, but it's fairly well done. You're gonna recognize some of the actors in it, and it's fun. It's not super light. It does go down this dark path as these time travel movies tend to do, but it's a fun movie to watch. It's not one like Ark. It's not one you're gonna probably watch over and over again, but it's potentially a good date night movie. Particularly if you're in your 20s. I think most people in their 20s would like this. They'll identify with the characters and sort of the take on this time travel movie. If I had to rank it, it'd probably be at the bottom of this list of five, but it still made it on the list, and it is a very good watch. And it's been on Netflix for quite a while. It was one of those straight to streaming movies, but it's pretty good. You'll see production value wise, maybe why it didn't get a wide theater release, even though I think it did come out in a limited release. But if you're a movie lover and you really like just good Netflix gems, you know how to look past that. And this one's definitely worth looking into.
You think you know what's coming? You don't have a clue.
The last one on our list is probably the one that most people have seen, but it kind of got forgotten about and nobody really talked about it after it came out, and that's Deja Vu. Denzel Washington stars in this with a pretty good cast. And without really giving too much away, obviously it deals with time travel, but it is a fairly different take on it than we've seen in other movies. And it's an interesting take. It's kind of a manhunt type of movie. It takes place in New Orleans, which I happen to like. I grew up near there, so I really like seeing movies that actually take place in New Orleans, which we don't get a lot of. It is a big filming location these days, but very rarely do those movies actually take place in the city. And it's a really interesting city. It's got a lot to offer cinematically. And Deja Vu is a movie that really, I think, takes advantage of that without seeming like sort of the cheesy New Orleans caricature that we used to get in a lot of movies kind of in the 80s and 90s. I highly recommend it. If you did miss it, it's probably the best one on the list. If you did see it, you might have forgotten about it, even though it is pretty good, but it's definitely worth a second watch. It's a Tony Scott movie, who you may remember is Ridley Scott's brother, who unfortunately died several years ago. But he's famous for Domino, which just was a beautiful movie, and this I believe was the first movie he did after Domino, but also did Crimson Tide and a handful of other Denzel Washington movies, including Man on Fire, which is just really great. If you haven't seen Man on Fire, by the way, it has nothing to do with time travel, but I highly recommend it. It is a really good revenge movie, and again, it's Tony Scott, Denzel Washington. If you liked that movie and you somehow missed Deja Vu, pick it up. It's not as dark. It's not as good, but for a time travel movie, it's one that gets forgotten, and I think it's really worth the watch. So I hope you like those time travel recommendations. They're all currently available on Netflix. If you've seen any of them, if you go and retroactively watch any of them, please let me know. Let me know what you thought about them. I'd love to hear from you in the comments below. If you like these recommendations and you think you're going to pursue them, please click the like button. It really is going to help more people see this video, and it's going to help me grow this channel. And as far as growing the channel, please subscribe if you haven't already. I've got a lot of content coming down the pipe that I want to share with you, so if you subscribe, you'll get those alerts. But that's it for today. Thanks for watching. I'm Darren with Flick Connection, and I'm out.